The top three in the championship, Pedrosa, Lorenzo, Marquez, all crashing. Lorenzo with a broken collarbone, back in Barcelona having an operation and coming back to race. Marquez with a fractured little finger on his right hand, a fractured toe as well. He's a bit bashed up and says it's going to be quite sore out there in this race today. But the main thing that we've got is blue skies and sunshine on the track.
Oh, is a song coming up now? I thought this was it. So, Dylan, off you go.
Well, I hate to be the negative one. Yes, we have blue skies now. However, there are quite a lot of clouds around, and the wind is quite strong at times and quite chilly. However, it does not look like rain.
Yeah, not yet. I don't think it's going to come. Lots of focus then for Cal Crutchlow as he starts from pole position today, thinking about how he's going to attack that first corner, thinking about what he needs to do to make sure he's right in that front group at the start of the race. As everyone leaves the grid now, what's going through Jorge Lorenzo's mind? We've seen him holding that left arm with his right hand. He's clearly going to be very sore. He's only had an operation it ended about 34 hours ago.
It's extraordinary that he's out there, but here we are, front row of the grid for round 7 of the MotoGP World Championship. Stefan Bradl on the front row for a MotoGP race for the first time ever. Marquez chasing his 4th successive victory here at the Cathedral of Grand Prix motorcycle racing. But in pole position for the very first time in his MotoGP career is Cal Crutchlow. So welcome back to Assen. I'm Nick Harris. Sitting alongside me, Gavin Emmett. Down in pit lane, Dylan Gray. Round 7 of the MotoGP World Championship.
Front row then, Crutchlow for the first time in pole alongside Marc Marquez and Stefan Bradl. If you could have predicted that front row at the start of the weekend, you're a better person than I. Valentino Rossi heads up row 2 with Danny Pedrosa and Bradley Smith, his best qualifying so far in the top class.
Row 3, what a performance by Aleix Espargaro, Alvaro Bautista and Randy de Punier, and Nicky Hayden, the top Ducati, Michele Pirro and Jorge Lorenzo.
With a broken collarbone on the 4th row of the grid, amazing. Andrea Iannone, row 5 with Barbara and Dovizioso. Let's hope they don't come into fisticuffs again. Petrucci, Abraham and Colin Edwards make up row 6. On to the 7th row, starring Corti Hernandez. Michael Laverty, Lucas Peszek and Ivan Silva in as a replacement for Hiroshi Aoyama on the 8th row of the grid. This is it for the start of the TT here in Assen. Let's not forget Pirro is in as a replacement this weekend still for Ben Spies, hoping he's back sooner rather than later. We've just had a word on the attendance here today. 90,000 fans have turned up. They still love this traditional last Saturday in June here in Northern Holland. It's still a brilliant place to come and watch motorcycle racing. We should have a great race ahead of us.
It's called the Cathedral. The 2 races we've seen at the Cathedral already have been absolutely superb. And I'm certain, even before this race gets underway, with everything that's gone on in qualifying practice, people flying back to Spain, coming back, broken collarbones, world champions and everything else, we are in for an incredible afternoon of Grand Prix motorcycle racing at a legendary circuit.
Yeah, been racing on the streets here since 1925. It then became a purpose-built circuit in 55. That was, of course, after the first running of the World Championship here in its first season in 1949. We've been back here every season since the 65th running in the World Championship of the Dutch TT here in Assen. It's a special occasion. You can feel it, really feel it bubbling in the air. We've got perfect conditions and we really have an interesting race ahead. So much has gone on this weekend. Anything could happen in the race.
The sun is shining. Our appetites have been whetted by great Moto3 and Moto2 races, but this is the big one. Round 7 of the MotoGP World Championships here at Assen on that Grand Prix calendar since the very start of the World Championship, way back in 1949.
Yeah, Marc Marquez, his grandfather probably wasn't alive. They're probably just about, but on board with the Spaniard as he makes his way round on the warm-up lap. Just be a little bit careful. Best conditions they've had all weekend, that much is for certain. Quick look at the championship standings. Danny Pedrosa leads Jorge Lorenzo by 7 points. How will that be affected today with Lorenzo starting from 12th with a recently operated broken collarbone, Pedrosa on the second row, and Cal Crutchlow starting from pole.
So it's 26 laps of this legendary circuit. Can history be made? Can Cal Crutchlow win his first race? Marc Marquez chasing his 4th successive victory. Stefan Bradl chasing his very first MotoGP victory. We're at Assen. It's round 7. It's the last Saturday in June.
Great start from Jorge Lorenzo. I was keeping an eye on there. But what about Stefan Bradl's getaway? And Dani Pedrosa from the second row of the grid leads them into turn 1. Crutchlow has dropped from 1st into 5th place.
Disaster for Cal Crutchlow. Oh, we were talking about his start. We're talking about Dani Pedrosa from that second row of the grid, and he has made it.
Bradl in second place then. It's Rossi who's in 4th, just in behind Marc Marquez. Marquez through on the inside of Stefan Bradl. Smith runs it a little bit wide. Behind him is Aleix Espargaro and Jorge Lorenzo. What a start from him. He's moved up from 12th position and now he's in there in 8th behind Espargaro, and I'm sure he'll get through easily enough into the Ruskenhoek.
Honda's 1, 2, 3. Great start by Pedrosa. Valentino Rossi will not want them to get away, but he's made a lot better start. Bradley Smith just running it a little bit wide again with Aleix Espargaro right behind him.
And with that full fuel tank, he said already, it's hard at the start of the race to keep the pace going. He needs to do it because it's a good start to be in 6th spot. We're on board with Rossi now. He'll want to get through Bradl as quickly as possible, but it's not going to be up at the Mandevane corner. It's from here now. The pace suddenly ups. They go click up through the gears. 4th, 5th gears as they come through into the Movenmere down there, and then into the Hogerheide. This is where Jorge Lorenzo crashed out and broke his collarbone 2 days ago now.
Into the left-hander they would come, the Ramshoek. They will now be thinking about the chicane. Lap 1 about to be completed. Here comes Rossi up the inside of Stefan Bradl, and Rossi moves into 3rd place very aggressively.
Aggressive, yeah. Bradl forced to sit up there. He thought he had the corner done. It's not to be, and now you can see Cal Crutchlow thinks about going through. Lorenzo, meanwhile, is through on Smith and up into 6th place. What a start it is from the world champion.
Absolutely amazing stuff from Jorge Lorenzo. How long can he last at this sort of pace, riding with that broken collarbone?
The race isn't decided at this point, and so it's up to someone like Crutchlow to stay calm. Here he comes now. Knew he needed to get through on Stefan Bradl. Bradl's lost out there, both to Marquez and now to Cal Crutchlow, who moves up into 4th place, the pole sitter.
Yeah, Crutchlow knows it. He's got to run fast now in these opening laps with that fuel load. Not the best of starts from pole position, and he doesn't want to let particularly Pedrosa get away at the front. Rossi knows that. That's why he's been aggressive.
It's an interesting one from here now because the Honda's trying to pull away as quickly as possible. You know Crutchlow should get stronger as this race goes on. And what about that into the left-hander of the Bolt from Jorge Lorenzo? He's now into 5th place. He was the fastest rider on Thursday morning, trying to work out which day we're on here with the Saturday race, but Thursday morning he was the fastest in the dry, and only Crutchlow was in half a second of his time, so he's clearly got pace going. Crutchlow having a bit of a moment as well, coming out of the Daukesloot and into the Ramshoek once more. We watched Dani Pedrosa leading from Marquez and then Rossi.
Perfect start by Dani Pedrosa from the second row of the grid. He had that crash at the end of qualifying yesterday, but he looks in superb form.
Smith has been relegated another spot by Aleix Espargaro. The fastest rider on the circuit as things stand is Valentino Rossi in 3rd place with a 35.0.
This is setting itself up very nicely indeed, as long as Pedrosa doesn't get away. Rossi's going to have to make a move on Marquez soon. As Pedrosa, we know what he can do. He's a great rider at the front of a race. He's quite happy to run on his own at the front.
And he's trying to break them as they come out of the Strubben and down the Veenslang, this crooked back straight, so familiar when you see them coming down there. Okay, it's changed over the years with this right-hander that was put in for safety reasons. And Rossi just stays in line behind Marquez, but Pedrosa is stretching it out. 0.7 was the gap. Back down to 0.6 into the Steckenval.
Yeah, through the Steckenval, that lovely bank corner down to this very flat left-hander de Bolt. Far end of the circuit. This is Rossi, 7 times winner here in Assen. Right behind Marc Marquez. It's quite reminiscent of the battle they had at that opening round. We thought it was going to be like that for the rest of the season, didn't we, between Marquez and Rossi?
Yeah, it hasn't quite materialised so far, But Rossi this weekend looks back on it, and I wonder if he's starting to think maybe about an early move up towards the chicane. I'm not sure he's going to be close enough this time. As we ride on board with Valentino Rossi, almost certainly isn't close enough to get anywhere near Marquez. There's a little twitch from his bike on entry into the chicane, but Marquez has picked up the pace there and just kept tabs on Pedrosa. Across the line, it's under half a second once more. Fastest rider now on the circuit is Cal Crutchlow with a bit of clear track ahead of him, a 1:35.0, but unfortunately for him, the three riders in front of him have also done very similar laps.
Yeah, they're running at the same sort of pace.
Just the early couple of laps, isn't it, for Crutchlow, with the fuel tank just being there and in with that group, and already you can see he's lost. He's now 9/10 of a second behind Rossi in front of him, so it just means he's got to work that bit harder.
You just wonder how long Lorenzo can ride at this sort of pace, don't you? It is an extraordinary performance by the world champion. Will the painkillers wear off? What is this about the strength in the collarbone, despite it's a titanium plate and 8 screws inserted in there? We ride with Cal Crutchlow. Right behind him is Jorge Lorenzo. As you can see, it's still Marquez. I'm not saying holding up Valentino Rossi, but Rossi not able to get past him.
Not yet, but he's right there now, and he's going to try and link something up here. Crutchlow runs a little bit wide in Mandevane. Is Lorenzo going to go through? He doesn't need any invitation whatsoever. Through he comes. Wow. Lorenzo's up into 4th place from 12th on the grid. That would be impressive enough, but for the fact that he's got a recently operated broken collarbone.
Here is Valentino Rossi. It's Marc Marquez in front of him. Both of them know about winning at Assen. Marquez has won 3 times here, Rossi 7. Pedrosa made the perfect start from that second row of the grid, just holding firm at the front. Rossi thinks about coming up the inside of Marquez. He doesn't think about it at Harbock. He's gone through. Look at the fans. They love him throughout the world.
So now he saw that Marquez on that previous lap was a couple of tenths down on Pedrosa and thought, right, we can't let this happen anymore. And as we know with Rossi, he will only get stronger as this race goes on. He showed us that on a couple of occasions this season. Towards the end of the race last time out, he was maintaining a similar kind of pace as the podium runners, but was just too far back to do anything about it.
Pedrosa leads the way. Rossi 2nd. Marquez now in 3rd place. This is the best we've seen of Valentino Rossi since that opening Grand Prix of the season in Qatar.
He's better than that still, because he made a stinker of a
start there,
as he knocked himself back early on in that race. It's the best we've seen of him since he last rode for Yamaha, really. Fighting the bike, Marquez. That's why Rossi saw the opportunity to go through down into turn 1. Rossi is closing the gap on Pedrosa. It was 0.7 through the last sector. What will it be now? That was on the last lap when he was winding up to get past Marquez. As they go through this flowing section, this is the bit where you think this should suit the Yamaha and Rossi as well, and he visually is closing it right down. 0.583 now, the gap, and across the line that will only be even lower.
The whole of Italy is about to come to a halt, I can tell you, because they're watching their television screens. They are urging on the 9 times world champion. He is closing the gap on Dani Pedrosa with 21 laps remaining.
A 1:34.89 from Valentino Rossi, half a second quicker than Dani Pedrosa. We've got a race in our hands here at the Dutch TT in Assen.
He's got him way, way in his sights now. He's right behind him. This is vintage Valentino Rossi.
And of course, he's doing a team job as well, because if he takes any points off Pedrosa, that's just a bonus for Lorenzo. Lorenzo's also putting his end in because he's in 4th place.
Fabulous stuff from Lorenzo. We just can't think highly enough about what he's doing at the moment. Can he last the pace there in 4th place? Well, that is going to be tough. Here we go. The 2 Hondas sandwiched in between them. The 9 times world champion and 7 times Assen winner, Valentino Rossi. Just 1 podium finish this season on his return to Yamaha, and that was in the first Grand Prix of the year under the floodlights in Qatar.
I reckon there's still 5 riders who will fancy their chances of finishing on the podium or even winning this race. 2.6 seconds separates Pedrosa from Crutchlow. Bradley's a further 1.5 seconds behind. Here comes Rossi now out of the Rams. So Pedrosa's going to try and run it wide, but Rossi is going to go through, and he's going to take the lead in the Dutch TT. And listen to the crowd. They stand on their feet in the grandstands as Rossi comes across the line in the lead.
Listen to that crowd. Valentino Rossi leads the Dutch TT here at Assen. 20 laps to go. Third place, Marc Marquez, and then Jorge Lorenzo riding with that broken collarbone, and the pole setter, Cal Crutchlow, in 5th place and not out of this battle, certainly for at least a podium finish.
Very wide from Rossi there in the Strubben. Just gave Pedrosa a glimpse of making up some time back on him. But Rossi, now he's hit the front. I wonder whether Pedrosa can stick this pace out already, because already his lap times have dropped back by 0.5 second from where he was in the early stages. And remember, he's had a tough weekend all round as Dani Pedrosa. Huge crash yesterday during qualifying. He was okay after that, but it's not been easy all round. He's not looked his usual self.
Surely Lorenzo can't catch these 3 in front of him. Surely to goodness,
he's doing
just
that.
Been in the races enough.
He was 0.3 quicker than Lorenzo on that last lap, and he's closing down 10th by 10th, and he will be gritting his teeth all the way around through the paint barrier. He's going to be going just to close down, because everything he does is massive for the championship.
Certainly is. Valentino Rossi's done him a massive favour as it stands at the moment. Pedrosa's hanging in there, but 20 points instead of 25. I don't know what to think. I'm just astounded by all events.
There's so many sporting events going on around the world today, this weekend as well, but I don't think you're going to get better than this. See what's going on. A legend coming back to leading the Dutch TT at such a traditional venue. The efforts from Lorenzo as well, and it's just been one of those weekends that's had so many storylines.
Valentino Rossi leads away. Dani Pedrosa, the championship leader, still in 2nd place. 7 points he leads the championship from Jorge Lorenzo. Marc Marquez chasing his 4th successive win here, and he's being closed down by Jorge Lorenzo, riding 36 hours after an operation to mend his broken left collarbone. A titanium plate and 8 screws are in that collarbone, and he's out there fighting for a podium finish.
That's 2.4 seconds now separate Rossi and Crutchlow. It's bunching up between the front 5 now.
If it comes to a real dogfight, you surely think Lorenzo would be the one to miss out, but I don't know.
I can't say anything now. The fact he's out there for a starter's moment for Marquez coming into the bull. Couldn't get that bike stopped then, and that will only give more courage, more energy to Jorge Lorenzo.
Just the encouragement he needs, if he needs any encouragement. Cal Crutchlow, well, he'll be disappointed as it stands at the moment. Don't rule him out of a podium finish, but it's those early laps of that full fuel load that does cause him problems. Bradl 6th, Alessio Spargaro 7th, Alvaro Bautista 8, Nicky Hayden 9, Vizioso 10, Bradley Smith 11, Randy DePunier in 12th place. We've forgotten about all them, haven't we? It's just too much happening.
You can't take your eyes off what's happening up here. That's the problem.
Lorenzo is closing metre by metre.
And he's not just closing on Marquez here. As he sets these laps, he's closing all the time on Pedrosa as well.
This is the battle for the front. Valentino Rossi leading the way from Dani Pedrosa, the championship leader. Then it's a battle for 3rd place between Jorge Lorenzo, riding with that broken left collarbone, and Marc Marquez.
Yeah, it's getting very tight now between Marquez and Lorenzo. Just a glance at the lap times give you a bit of a story here. Pedrosa and Rossi both at 35.3s. Marquez at 35.6 nigh on. Lorenzo at 35.1. And Crutchlow 35.3, like Rossi and Pedrosa. So the fastest rider out there is actually the man nursing a broken collarbone.
We ride with Jorge Lorenzo. He's closing up now on Marc Marquez. Is he going to go through? No gap surely this time round. You'd think you'd want to be careful, wouldn't you, with that collarbone? It doesn't seem to take any account of that whatsoever.
It will start hurting at the halfway point, so Lorenzo wants to make up places and positions now while he can, and then just try and hold on. But everything he's doing. Of course, he'll be using his right arm perhaps that little bit more as well. That could create problems later on in the race if he has some kind of arm pump issue from just grabbing on so firmly with his right arm. But it is really bunching up now. Crutchlow's closing in on Lorenzo as we speak as well. And when they come across the line, Rossi may well be leading, but there's only 2.3 seconds separating the top 5.
We ride with Lorenzo. In front of him is Marc Marquez. You just get a glimpse of Dani Pedrosa and the race leader Valentino Rossi. Right behind Lorenzo is Cal Crutchlow through this series of tight right-handers at the start of the lap here at the new Assen circuit before they're going to flick it left through the Struben and then explode down through the V-slang.
Nothing surprised you anymore in this race about what Jorge Lorenzo is doing. Can he keep this pace going? Marquez is dropping back all the time from Pedrosa now as Rossi and Pedrosa just knock out that rhythm. 135.3. Marquez matched them on that last lap, but just slowly he was dropping back slightly.
Through the Steckenwald corner they come. We still ride with Jorge Lorenzo. Now this flat left to Bolt corner, then we're at the bottom end of the circuit. Double apex right. Surely, as the race goes on, it's got to weaken. It's got to be in pain, hasn't it?
Yeah, the painkillers, sometimes they can have them, so maybe start the race with pain and then they kick in as the race goes on. Let the adrenaline do the business early doors, or sometimes, more likely, it'll be in there, the painkiller, and it will wear off as the blood starts flowing, the adrenaline starts going around the body. And Crutchlow is not slowing down here. Crutchlow is actually closing on Lorenzo on this lap, and they were the 2 fastest riders last time round.
Through the chicane they'd come, and across the line there would be 16 laps remaining of this 26-lap race. Round 7 of the MotoGP World Championship. That's your top 5. If you blink, they've gone through. There is the pole set of Cal Crutchlow. Down in a rather lonely 6th place now is Stefan Bradl.
Alvaro Bautista has got through on Aleix Espargaro for 7th place, but Espargaro will stick with him as long as he can. He's battled the prototype bikes this year. Nicky Hayden and Andrea Dovizioso 9th and 10th behind, running together with Bradley Smith just in close attendance. Then Depunier is in 12th with his best lap of the race on the previous one, with Pirro and Iannone 13th and 14th. Tough weekend for Ducati. Carol Abraham rounds out the points, and it's Petrucci 16th, Edwards 17th, Hernandez 18th, Starring 19th, Barbara Laverty, Corti Silva, and Lucas Peszek bringing up the rear in 24th position.
Here are the 2 factory Ducatis, Andrea Dovizioso and Nicky Hayden. Hayden, of course, previous winner here back in 2006. There is Aleix Espargaro. What a season he is having, dominating the CRT battles. And he's going to give Alvaro Bautista a really tough time. Bautista just wants to finish the race after his misfortunes in the last 2 races.
Right, Marquez has started to up his pace now. He's closing in a bit on Pedrosa, and that's just leaving Lorenzo behind a touch as Crutchlow also closes in on the Spaniard.
Oh, here we go. Valentino Rossi leads a Grand Prix as he goes past Dani Pedrosa.
Still the gap stands at 0.3 of a second though. Look at that. He just elicits it wherever he goes in the world. Lynn Jarvis, of course, delighted because it's all points towards the team that aren't going to Dani Pedrosa and Honda.
14 and a half laps to go. Lorenzo, I think, beginning to slow, feeling a bit of discomfort now. Crutchlow right behind. It's got to happen, isn't it?
Has to, and Crutchlow will make a move sooner rather than later, you would have thought, because he's actually got the pace to challenge for the podium here. You cannot speak highly enough of how well Lorenzo is riding to even be out there. Never mind running in 4th place.
Well, he'll just hope that Valentino Rossi can win the race. If Crutchlow does go past, I think he will. He'll just settle for perhaps as comfortable as he can ride into 5th place, which would be an amazing result. Lucas Peszek out of the race.
Yeah, just brought the bike in to retire. So that's the end for the Czech rider. Look at the gap now between Marquez and Lorenzo. And Crutchlow will need to make something happen quickly. Otherwise, he's going to get caught out here.
I just checked with the team. They're still not entirely sure what the problem was, but it looks to be something technical.
Yeah, Lucas Peszek looks like he's just come back and just sat it out, doesn't he? We ride with Marc Marquez, currently running in 3rd place. He's got away from Jorge Lorenzo. Can he close the gap on Dani Pedrosa or even Valentino Rossi at the front? There would be 14 points in the championship. It would remain the same, and that would be unbelievable for Jorge Lorenzo. But Crutchlow And you're right, Gab, he's got to make a move soon, as they're going to get away, aren't
On
they?
that previous lap, he and Marquez both did 1:34.9 laps, so they're improving the pace all the time, but Crutchlow just lost 0.6 by doing that. He's lost 0.4 to Marquez. He needs to be aggressive and get through on Lorenzo, much as it probably pains him to do so. He's a good friend, and of course, he doesn't want to cause any problems for the world champion.
And it's a dilemma as a motorcycle racer, but it's tough for him. He's got such respect for Lorenzo, and as you say, he doesn't want to do anything that may cause problems with Lorenzo.
Not just causing problems for Lorenzo, but causing problems for Yamaha as well.
Yeah, that's true as well. But he has got to make a move soon, and if there's any criticism of Cal Crutchlow, and there's very little, overtaking sometimes, it does take a long time to get past people, doesn't he? And this is costing him dear now.
The outside leg coming off this time for Rossi. It's a good one, coming through the chicane. Not seen that one before. Just slipping off the foot peg.
So when was his last Grand Prix win? Malaysia, Valentino Rossi?
2010.
Yeah, the day, of course, Lorenzo won the championship.
Exactly. His 46th Grand Prix victory for Yamaha, of course.
I think we're counting our chickens too early at the moment. This could go absolutely any way. But Rossi flying the Yamaha flag, doing a great job for Jorge Lorenzo. Lorenzo's doing a very good job himself as well, isn't he? There are the two Hondas.
Now,
once again, here comes Crutchlow. No, not able to do it.
We'll have to get the run down in towards turn one.
Do you think if it was somebody else, he may have had a go there? I don't know.
I'm not saying it's all about respect. He'll be wanting to get on the podium and he'll do anything he can, but those things have to surely enter into his mind as well. Don't want to cause any damage to already broken world champion. Don't want to damage your chances with the factory you're riding for, especially when you're begging for more factory materials all the time. Into the Strubben. It's going to be this time, is it? Oh, he was so close then as well, but just went in and Lorenzo closed the door on him.
It's costing him dear, though, isn't it? It's pushing him further and further away from the podium, Cal Crutchlow.
Yeah, you see how he didn't get the drive then because of the line he ran into the Strubben.
These two Hondas aren't out of it either, are they?
Still Crutchlow is only 2.2 seconds down on Rossi. He was a bit closer a couple of laps ago now, but it's still not a massive amount. We're only at the halfway point, just past it in this race.
There's Cal Crutchlow in pole position, but struggling to get past the injured Jorge Lorenzo. Valentino Rossi, meanwhile, he got past Pedrosa, setting a fast pace at the front. The Hondas are working very hard to stay with him. Pedrosa and Marquez. Up through the ramps they come, up towards the chicane.
I've not seen one moment from Rossi. It looks so smooth. It's like he's thought, finally, this is how I get the most out of this Yamaha now.
12 laps to go and they cross the line.
Of course, they had a massive test last couple of weeks ago, just after the Barcelona race. Barcelona and, of course, in Aragon was the big one where they made some progress forward, especially with the front end of the bike, the front forks in particular, and just getting the bike stopped and turned. And he said he had a breakthrough there, and they were coming here confident. Well, it certainly looks like it if we look at this race so far. Crutchlow decides against it this time in the Strubben. Maybe a new tactic for him.
Jorge Lorenzo still running in 4th place with that broken left collarbone, a titanium plate and 8 screws in there just 36 hours ago. An operation in Barcelona, flown back by jet from Groningen nearby here. Operation comes straight back and says, I'm going to race. Everybody laughs. He goes out in the morning warm-up, does 11 laps. He's out in the race and he's running 4th.
You almost feel like you're watching this a different parallel universe, really, isn't it? It's not right.
I would think he's probably getting in a different parallel universe with the pain, and it's got to be weak, isn't it? When you've broken a bone, like, I know it's obviously pinned together, but it's got to affect.
Well, the gap between Rossi and Pedrosa has opened up now. It's up at over half a second. I think this has got to be it for Crutchlow. Surely now he's right there. Lorenzo's going to try everything he can, but Crutchlow finally makes it through. And I think more than anything, what we were saying about him wanting to make a clean pass on Lorenzo, and that's never going to be easy. Lots of Brits in the crowd, they'll be delighted to see Crutchlow finally make it through, and I'd have thought now he will pull away from Lorenzo. Has he got too much now? It's 2.8 the gap to Rossi, 1.8 the gap to Marquez. Less than half the race left. Has he got enough to be able to go and challenge for the podium?
Well, you're never quite sure with him, are you? As you say, it's a very, very clean overtaking manoeuvre, and he did want to make it clean, didn't he? And he's done that. Now he's got clear track in front of him. We know when the fuel load's gone down just how quick Cal Crutchlow can be.
Yeah, he'll only kick himself for those last few laps if he didn't do something early. We did see one move attempted at the Strubben and also into the chicane as well. Came up with the goods this time. Right, so he's already picked up a couple of tenths on this lap. He's got the hammer down. He's trying to chase it. We saw him do the best lap during qualifying. Now he needs a couple of those strung together to get back involved in this race.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of Danny Pedrosa or Marc Marquez, but they've hung in there very well indeed. Rossi, quick pace at the front, so smooth. Here is Crutchlow. Surely now Lorenzo will settle for a nice, safe, trouble-free 5th place and just grit his teeth and get on with it. Perhaps actually when he's involved in a bit of a battle, it takes the idea of the pain away a little bit because it's got to be there.
Be an interesting lap time now for Cal Crutchlow. Gap was at 1.8 more or less across the line last time. When they come through, let's have a look what he's done. Yeah, he's 3 tenths quicker than Rossi and Pedrosa, 2 tenths quicker than Marquez as well, closing down the gap down to 1.65.
9.5 laps to go. Well, what can Crutchlow do? Obviously, he had problems getting past Lorenzo. He's now done that. He could do Yamaha an enormous favour, couldn't he, if he could get past the 2 Hondas. Alvaro Bautista under pressure, as always, from the flying Aleix Espargaro. This is the battle for 7th place.
There are the 2 Ducati still going hard at it between Hayden and Dovizioso, 9th and 10th. They've dropped Bradley Smith a bit. He's a second and a half behind in 11th place. And then Depunier is in 12th all by himself. Then Pirro, Iannone and Abraham rounding out the point scoring positions. But Ducati have had a really tough weekend all round. Hayden and Dovizioso both frustrated and a lot more vocal about Ducati making some developments to that bike, making some steps forward, but it's just not quite coming at the moment for the Italian factory.
Well, it's been a lonely old ride for Stefan Bradl, running in 6th place. Of course, he did start from the front row of the grid. I think he led momentarily going into turn 1, but it's still a good solid ride by the LCR Honda rider. But it's happening at the Marquez, I think, now feels, hello, Crutchlow's coming. Time perhaps to make a move on my teammate.
We've seen him get strong as the races have gone on as well. Seems to somehow get the most out of the tyres. And Pedrosa, again, over the last few races, we have seen in the latter stages, it just gets a little bit difficult for him in Italy and in Barcelona as well. Remember, he was battling with Marquez in Italy, and Marquez passed with 2 or 3 laps to go and then crashed out, which gave Pedrosa that 2nd place. And in Barcelona again, he just wasn't able to stick with Lorenzo at the end.
How can anybody not enjoy these races? This is a fabulous
I think
TV,
anyone watching this one will be loving it.
Well, I hope they're loving it as much as we are.
And in Italy, even more so.
Oh, it's come to a standstill. We ride with Marc Marquez. That's Danny Pedrosa in front of him. Has he gone through? Marquez through into 2nd place.
Wow, done it at the Ruskenhoek. Only wouldn't have expected that one. Has to run it deep. And Pedrosa comes straight back. But now we've got to battle on. This is only going to help Rossi.
And Crutchlow.
Of course. Rossi, and now the gap before that was about 0.6. It's now at 0.8.
Get back, you little whippersnapper, didn't he, said Pedrosa. What the hell are you playing at? Marquez will have another go at him, though. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Marquez fancies a bit more pace than I think than he's running.
That's keeping an extra gear going through into the Ruskenhoek, but of course that's got to have its consequences. Running it wide, he thought he might be able to keep it going into this bank left-hander of the Steckenwald. Didn't quite make it because Pedrosa was savvy to that move.
They come up back towards the start and finish.
And it has helped Crutchlow. Crutchlow down to 1.2 seconds, the gap between himself and now Dani Pedrosa. So the battle's on for second. This is only going to help Rossi. The stand have realised that. They're all on their feet as they come across the line. The leg goes out from Rossi, but it's him leading from Marquez now. Pedrosa in third, and Crutchlow is only 1.1 seconds down on Pedrosa now.
Oh, could he do his prospects with Yamaha even more good than they are at the moment if he could get into second place, Cal Crutchlow, and push the two Hondas further back. Lorenzo obviously now has settled for an amazing 5th place.
Now, you have to say, when he went through on Lorenzo, you're thinking, oh, is he going to sign for Ducati next year then for Crutchlow? But I'll tell you what, he could do his Yamaha prospects, no harm whatsoever, if he could attack the Hondas now.
This is a superb race. Now, what pace has Marc Marquez got? Now he's got Dani Pedrosa behind him. Can he start catching? Well,
look at
God,
Crutchlow as well.
The king, the man he's obviously followed as a kid in Grand Prix racing. Crutchlow coming up behind them all the time. Rossi looks smooth at the front, doesn't he?
Looks brilliant, looks right on song, and with 7.5 laps to go, yes, Marquez may well close him down, but he's going to have something left in the tank as well.
We ride with Marc Marquez running in second place. To say he's won here for the last 3 years in 125 and Moto2. His first MotoGP race here at the Cathedral of Grand Prix motorcycle racing. Very, very rarely lets us down, Assen. It's certainly not doing that this afternoon. Rossi chasing his first Grand Prix victory for almost 3 years. You can hear the crowd. They're clapping, they're cheering, they're urging him on.
Crutchlow, the gap to Pedrosa down to half a second. Across the line, it's 0.4 as well. Pedrosa's got a battle to stay on the podium here, and this could be massive for the championship as well, because obviously Pedrosa will only just be ahead of Lorenzo, but Marquez will take away points from him.
That's right. Marquez is obviously got to do exactly that, but Pedrosa is struggling a bit, and Crutchlow coming up right behind him. Rossi at the front, though, is riding a Rossi-type race from 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, 79 Grand Prix victories in the Premier Class to his name, 105 overall. We didn't know if we were ever going to see him add to that again, considering how this season has started. But I tell you what, he's got every chance of doing it. Will there be a celebration up the sleeve? I've seen tons of his fan club here this weekend. I think the only celebration we might see is a bit of relief from him. Now, oh, that was Crutchlow trying to put something in on Pedrosa and running it far too deep in the Strubben. It hasn't lost him out too much time overall. It's just like a point and squirt through that corner, but he's thinking about it now.
He certainly is. Yamaha will be urging him on. Here is Marquez. He's broken clear of Dani Pedrosa, but he's not making any real progress on this man. Number 46 leads the way, Valentino Rossi.
1.5 seconds now, the gap between Rossi and Marquez. It's his to lose, surely, at this stage. When he crosses the start-finish line after he comes through the final chicane, there will be 6 laps to go in the Dutch TT, and we still do not have a clue who is going to be on the podium with him.
Marquez breaks for turn 1, Harbock, then there's Pedrosa. Crutchlow, we've got a very, very quick glimpse there of Jorge Lorenzo. He'd be urging Cal Crutchlow on, wouldn't he, from 5th place. Say, go on, get after the Hondas, get after Dani Pedrosa. Marc Marquez isn't the problem, but if he can put it past Dani Pedrosa, it could be the difference between winning and losing the championship when we go to that last round in Valencia in November.
On board with Cal Crutchlow, let's have a watch. Up towards the Ruskenhoek, keeps it in 5th gear through there. Normally you'd expect him to have 4th, drops it into 3rd for the left-hand part, and then into the Steckenval. Will stay in 3rd gear around here, but all the time you can see him closing in on Pedrosa.
Now down at De Bolt.
Oh, beautiful coming through there. The way he held it in 3rd, held the pace, held the throttle in the middle, and then accelerated out as well. No rolling off whatsoever. He's got Pedrosa in his sights. Can he line him up and do him at the chicane, as he did to Lorenzo just a few laps ago now?
Certainly could be close enough as they start the climb up towards the shim. It's not a climb, it's flat, but it's up towards the start and finish. He's got to come through the fast left-hander, the ram's hook, as quick as he can, then line him up. He's lining him up all the time, Crutchlow. Is he close enough? Here he comes on the brakes. No, I don't think he is.
He's going to go to the inside of the track now, Cal Crutchlow, and he is going to go through, up into third place. Crutchlow into the podium positions. Danny Pedrosa is having a disastrous race, considering his main title rival is nursing a broken collarbone. He's out of the podium positions.
Fabulous stuff from Cal Crutchlow, back on the podium, doing a magnificent job for Yamaha. Now, can he close at all on Marc Marquez? I think he's done the main job as far as Yamaha go. Let's have a look at those points. Only 9 points. Wow, when he flew home with that broken collarbone, Lorenzo, he was thinking about 32 points perhaps. Only 9. He's kept the championship alive by his brilliant ride. Valentino Rossi's helped him, and Cal Crutchlow's come along to the party as well.
Great move, classic Assen into the chicane, just forcing Pedrosa to let him go, and he came out of it beautifully as well to stay ahead of Pedrosa. He's going to have work to do to keep the Spaniard at bay, but now he will have Marquez in his sights and try and help out Yamaha and Lorenzo even further. 1 second through the last split between Marquez and Crutchlow.
Here he is, Lorenzo. Well, he battled so bravely with Crutchlow, and now he is going through his own personal hell, I would imagine. He's gritting his teeth and just praying for the race to come to an end. Extraordinary performance by a true world champion. I don't think you can envisage what he's going through.
And Pedrosa cannot stick with Crutchlow. He can't stick with him. Crutchlow is closing on Marquez. Across the line they come. There will be 4 laps to go in the Dutch TT. Has Crutchlow left it too late, or has he got a chance of taking more points from Honda and Marc Marquez?
The doctor leads the way, chasing his first Grand Prix win for over 2.5 years.
Well, it would be unbelievable scenes if he were to take this victory today. Italy will be going wild as we speak as well. They will be jumping around in front of their TV sets watching this one. It's just been one of those weekends. The script writers would have thrown this one out if they'd come across their desks.
They'd said, sorry, this can't happen.
This is preposterous. What are you on about? Yeah. This doesn't happen.
One thing we do know, and Cal Crutchlow knows, if he gets up along with Marquez, Marquez won't be so worried in any way at all to have a right old scrap to the line with him.
Crutchlow just did a 1:35.1 on that previous lap. The gap now is down to about half a second, 6/10, and he will only get stronger as this lap goes on, because this is where he seems to have the pace through the faster sections. Just gets that Yamaha flowing beautifully. It's a great performance this from Crutchlow in these conditions.
Well, if only he made a better start, he could have been the man at the front.
It's that full fuel load, those early laps once more. The gap between himself and Rossi stands at 2.6. We said that after 4 laps. So he's got the pace of Rossi at the front in these latter stages as well. The problem were those early laps when Rossi made it to the front.
Here is Marquez coming under increasing pressure from Crutchlow. They cross the line. There will be 3 laps to go. 26th lap, round 7 of the MotoGP World Championship. We ride with Marquez. Into Harbock he goes, the right-hander. That's Valentino Rossi in front of him.
That's Mark. We're on board with Crutchlow. That's Marquez in front.
I'm getting carried away here. I'm enjoying it too much. There is Crutchlow. Danny Pedrosa, as you say, can't stay the pace with them. Ooh.
Into the Strub, and he'll tighten it up once more. These are the sections where the Honda will be strong, though. Powering out of the Strubben. Through the Veenslang, that little kink right, into the Ruskenhoek, up into 6th gear they go. Crutchlow's been knocking it back just into 5th gear. Seen that Marquez himself is strong in that sector, but now, from this point on, from this 3rd gear Steckemol, this is where Crutchlow is strong, and especially on exit from this corner.
Well, this is the important part. There's Marquez in front of him. They start coming back towards the start and finish. They're going to go through the ram's hook, the fast left-hander. Can he be close enough?
Marquez is going very wide as well in every single corner. 1 or 2 problems here and there. Crutchlow just needs to think about his own race now. He's got the drive back towards the line. Lucy on the right of the picture can't even watch Cal Crutchlow's fiancée.
Now then, is he close enough to have a go at him out the chicane? He's going to be very, very close indeed. Crutchlow closing up on Marquez. Into the chicane they come on the brakes now. Can he get up the inside?
Not this time. Marquez very strong coming through the ramps. 2 laps to go in this Dutch TT. Valentino Rossi, barring disaster, is going to win his first race in 2.5 years. The legend returns. It's Marquez now pushing so hard to stay in front of Cal Crutchlow, who really struggling to even get the bike stopped. I wonder if Crutchlow might have a chance here if he can keep the pace going into the Strubben, into the left-hander after this sequence of rights.
We ride with Cal Crutchlow, Marquez in front of him through the sequence of rights. Any moment now, they will sit up and brake hard for the left.
Oh, no. Marquez blocked him right off.
Fabulous stuff there by Marquez, really blocked him. Any chance he thought of coming up the inside have gone. Now they race down through the V-slang. 1.5 laps to go. This is the race for second place. The cheering is for one man only, though, isn't it?
Well,
so
I don't know. I think it's for all of them out
Yeah.
there, because it's been a brilliant Dutch TT. Rossi's done the business at the front. Jorge Lorenzo's been heroic in 5th place, but Marquez and Crutchlow are now putting on this battle that's going to go right down to the wire.
Crutchlow again will close up for this latter section, and he will want to try and get even closer when they come up to the chicane. They're at the bottom end of the circuit now. They start this fast run back up, and he's closer this time, certainly, Crutchlow.
Bit of a slide from him that time, coming through these fast right-handers into the fastest corner on the circuit, the Hugger Hyder, 6th gear into there.
Now then, can he get close in through the ramp? I don't think he is.
Not this time.
So he's going to have one more go, because they will start their last lap when they come through the chicane. Marquez still holds the advantage. Rossi 1 lap away from a famous Grand Prix victory here in Assen. Crutchlow could not be closer. Just runs it a bit wide. It's over.
Can he hang on to the position, though? Because Pedrosa surely will be lurking. I think he's managed to do it. That's it from Crutchlow. He's going to have to settle for 3rd place. Thought about a move at turn 1 where he'd seen Marquez struggle, and that's it. Crutchlow will have to settle for 3rd, but he's done his part in this race. Certainly has done so. And Crutchlow he clipped the rear wheel of Marquez then. He tagged him. But thankfully, neither of them went down.
They cannot believe it. They cannot watch back in Valentino Rossi's garage. The doctor is back. He is chasing his 106th Grand Prix victory. He hasn't won a Grand Prix for over 2.5 years. He's half a lap away for getting back on the top step of the podium.
Those 2 years at Ducati will be a distant memory tonight if he can celebrate with the champagne on the top step of the podium. He'll forget them in a flash, because he is back to his best here today at the Dutch TT. And what a place to do it, the most traditional Grand Prix venue on the whole calendar. The place he's already won at 7 times previously. He has just the chicane to come now, Valentino Rossi, to claim his 80th MotoGP win, 106 overall in Grand Prix racing.
The crowd are on their feet. Italy has stopped for 1 minute. Valentino Rossi wins here in Assen. He's back in business.
Marquez comes across the line in 2nd. Cal Crutchlow takes the podium in the dry in 3rd, ahead of Dani Pedrosa. And all credit to Jorge Lorenzo. What a brave ride from the world champion. He'll be in agony all of a sudden. But Lorenzo has cut the gap. I think that's as close as he could ever imagine it being here today. Only 9 separate Pedrosa and Lorenzo in the championship.
Stefan Bradl finishes a lonely 6th place. Now, how is Jorge Lorenzo? He must be in agony. Yeah, the left arm has come off the bike.
Oh, well, I think we can safely say he was fit to race.
Certainly is. Great ride again by Aleix Espargaro. He's in 8th place. Bradley Smith got past the 2 Ducatis on that last lap of Andrea Dovizioso to finish in 9th spot.
Yeah, 500s ahead of Dovizioso across the line, so it must have all happened in the chicane. Marquez and Rossi shake hands. No Lorenzo, no Pedrosa on the podium. I can't remember the last time that has happened, because in the last 24 MotoGP races, one or the other has been on the podium pretty much.
What a day we have had here in Assen. Lorenzo finishes in 5th place, but the day belongs to the doctor. He's back in business, the business of winning Grand Prix.
And he's loving it. And he's going to milk this one for everything it's worth. We did wonder at Ducati if we would ever see him win a Grand Prix again. And that's only fair because he wondered it as well. He didn't know. I think we've certainly got the answer now. Look at that, wherever he goes in the world.
I think we even wondered as this season was progressing if he'd ever win a Grand Prix again, to be honest with you. Well, never, never, never write the doctor off. 106 Grand Prix wins. I think he will be ecstatic. I think this will be, hearsay, it's one of his greatest ever Grand Prix victories.
I don't know. It'll probably be one of the biggest celebrations anyway. Gets on the shoulders of one of his fan club members, right in front of the fan club as well, and they're being treated, aren't they? Oh, they'll party on long into the night.
90,000 fans here at Assen today. They will be telling their grandchildren they were here. Valentino Rossi came back to winning races. Great ride also by Marc Marquez, who wasn't into second place.
Another podium for the rookie. He's only missed out once this year, and that was when he crashed out of second with a couple of laps to go in Italy. And let's give credit too, as well, where it's due, to Cal Crutchlow. One point in the middle of the race, we thought he was going to miss out on the podium, but he came back and did it, and he will only pray that he could have been up there in those early laps, because he would have been battling Rossi for victory as well, I'm sure. But he can enjoy a dry weather podium, and that's something he can savour. Of course, he did take one early on in the year at Italy, but there were crashes in front of him. This time, he's finished ahead of Pedrosa on merit.
Well, the World Championship, 9 points between Pedrosa and Lorenzo. You just would not have believed that on Thursday afternoon after Lorenzo crashed.
And victory number 47 for number 46 at Yamaha as well. So there's all sorts of little numbers here and there that we can recall.
106 Grand Prix wins for Valentino Rossi. We waited a long time for this.
Will be shaking again now, won't he? He'll be worried about his record of 122.
We'll have to go through all that business again about Formula 750s and everything else, won't we? It's great to see Valentino Rossi back. I think we've all enjoyed that as much as he has. Well done, Marc Marquez. Don't forget he's riding with a broken finger and a broken toe. But Jorge Lorenzo back in the pits. He's in absolute agony. Bravo, somebody shouts. And so they should. Helped off the bike. A broken collarbone.
Guys, I'm actually just down here with Lynn Jarvis. Lynn, a fantastic day on more than one front. Obviously, Valentino back and Jorge with the collarbone. How do you feel about today?
Well, yeah, considering the exceptional circumstances, it really couldn't be better. To see Valentino coming back, you know, he gained the confidence in the last test, and he's got the confidence back in the bike, and we've seen what he can do again. And for Jorge to minimize the damage against the Hondas like that, it's amazing. And Cal did a great job as well to take points from Danny, so top day.
Thank you very much.
Look at that. That's respect for Jorge Lorenzo. He can't wave back. He can't even celebrate with his teammate Valentino Rossi. He is in pain. Cal Crutchlow celebrates. Marc Marquez in the have a big joke.
I think Marquez said, "You touched me, didn't you?" He did, and he did. He clips his rear wheel down in turn one. JB in there gets to enjoy that once more. Finally, it's happened. That test at Aragon has done the business.
You don't see Jerry Burgess there that often doing Parc Fermé, but he knows what a special win it
and
is.
Nakajima, they brought him back to Yamaha and he's delivered. Gaz Coleman down there as well. It's Thai guy, great day. And look at this. Well, he deserves a full round of applause from everyone at Yamaha. There we are. Ucho in there.
I mean, we got a bit complacent about these celebrations and these scenes. But
even Briggsy's made it down to Parc Fermé. He never goes down.
Yeah. He's back. The team are back. It's a big result.
And what a place to do it as well.
They are.
Someone with the legend of Rossi doing it at a place with the legend. Aleix Espargaro, top CRT, of course, yet again. 8th place for him. Brilliant ride from Espargaro once more.
Well, they started racing here in Grand Prix in 1949. I don't think we've seen many better days since then
Well,
than we've
weekends
seen
all
today.
round,
What an amazing weekend. Rossi wins at Assen, his first Grand Prix victory for 2.5 years. Marquez second, Crutchlow third, Pedrosa fourth, and yes, Jorge Lorenzo fifth. Bradl, Batista, Aleix Espargaro, and Bradley Smith. I'm breathless. Gab's breathless. Sit down in a dark room with a cool drink, I think, for everybody involved.
Well, it's yeah, it was just unbelievable. The whole thing, everything that's happened here this weekend, you could not make it up. You couldn't make it up.
You couldn't.
And more to come, hopefully next time in Sachsenring, back-to-back with Laguna Seca as well in California. More to come. We're not even at the halfway point in this championship yet. And of course, the main thing for me in this, in terms of the championship, is that Pedrosa is only 9 points ahead. When, yeah, he's obviously clearly having some front-end problems, but when Lorenzo broke his collarbone, we were thinking, what?
But it could have been 32 points, couldn't it, if it was a win for Pedrosa?
Exactly,
yeah.
And we were thinking, yeah, over a race win, the difference between them. And the things that have happened since then.
Well, 9 points, there you go. Confirmation is what they are separated by. Marquez closing up a little bit. Crutchlow going well. Valentino Rossi right behind Crutchlow now.
Well, Marquez within a race win now.
He is. Dovizioso, Bradl, Hayden, Alvaro Batista.
Yeah, disappointing for Bautista in 7th place. But I think more than anything, he had to bring the bike home. Rossi closes into 2 points now behind Crutchlow.
Aleix Espargaro. What a CRT battle he is raging against the prototypes. Bradley Smith just behind him.
Yeah, the fact he's got 44 points and the nearest CRT behind him is Depunier with 15 says it all.
Javier Delmore there, picked up a single point in Barcelona. He turned up to watch the race and ended up racing in it, didn't he? Placing a Rossi. There's the CRT battle. It's not really a battle, is it? It's a bit of a one-horse race. 41 points, and Randy Depunier moving up 2 places to make it 1-2 for the Aspar team. It's been an extremely good weekend for them also. It's been an extraordinary weekend for Yamaha. I know.
We knew it was coming. We did warn people. We did say have a bet on Rossi. Hope you took our advice and you watched every second of it, and you had your little side bet on Rossi as well.
Well, Parc Fermé after a truly extraordinary. There you go. That's at Harbach. That's the battle for second place, and he did touch his rear wheel, didn't he, Cal Crutchlow? It's on the last lap.
Could have both gone down.
Yeah.
Could have been a podium for Lorenzo, that one, just right there and then.
Yeah.
They knew they were hoping, but thankfully he managed to get the bike stopped and round. Others might not take that in such good humour.
But they do. He did. Marcus said, "You did," and he said, "Yeah, I did." I did. Poor Lorenzo. Well, his face says it all, doesn't it? He's I think, yeah, first smile we've seen from him. I think there's some tears there as well, isn't there?
I think he's got every right to have a little smile on his face, only 9 points behind. Then we'll talk about the engine allocation and those kind of things later, because that's another issue that they're going to have to come across. But just enjoy that, the fact that you've made it through a weekend with a broken collarbone to take 5th.
A number of people here this weekend have put their bodies on the line.
Rossi down with the BBC and our good friend Azzy.
Getting a little kiss from him, wasn't she?
I never used to get those.
No, I was going to say, no, nor did I.
I'm quite glad of it, actually, I have to say. Sweaty man coming in.
Well, Repsol Honda lead the way in the teams championship. There's 37 points between them and the Yamaha factory team. Obviously, Monster Yamaha Tech 3 with Crutchlow and Bradley Smith piling on the points once again. 3rd, Ducati disappointing. Power Electronics Aspar, well, they're doing okay, aren't they? In the CRT championship, and LCR Honda, the single rider with Stefan Bradl. Well, 2 weeks' time, we're at the Sachsenring in Germany. I think we all need a bit of a rest before then. the bravery of Lorenzo to come back and ride. Amazing. Yamaha have taken the lead in the Constructors' Championship by a single point. Whoa. That means so much to those two big manufacturers. Ducati third. Way off the pace. It's the two big Japanese giants that are fighting it out for the Constructors' title. Well, the podium's going to be an interesting place because Valentino Rossi will receive a hero's welcome after his 106th Grand Prix victory. Did we wonder if we'd ever see that again? I'll be honest, I did. And I apologise. 46. He's back. He will get an absolute hero's welcome. We're sitting opposite the main grandstand here at Assen. Every single person in that grandstand who can is standing up. And you can hear what they're singing and saying already, Valley, Valley, Valley. They're slowly making their way up towards the podium. Right, up the stairs. There'll be a brief chat at the back, and then onto the podium they will come, and then you have a listen to what the crowd think about the return of Valentino Rossi to the top step of the podium. I would imagine Jerry Burgess, his legendary crew chief, will go up with him to receive the team prize. That's what Valentino Rossi's done for Grand Prix racing. Packed car parks, packed motorcycle parks. Over 90,000 people here today. And they've enjoyed Grand Prix racing of the very, very, very highest quality. Here he comes. Well done, Cal Crutchlow in third place. And Marc Marquez, only his 7th Grand Prix in the MotoGP class, and another podium finish for that prodigious, talented young Spaniard. They're still laughing about the incident on the last lap between Marc Marquez and Cal Crutchlow. So Cal Crutchlow first out on the podium in third place, his 3rd podium of the season. Great ride by the pole setter. Marc Marquez in 2nd place, but listen to the cheers. He's back. The doctor returns to the top step of the podium. Rossi wins here in Assen. Well, first it's going to be the constructors' presentation. That's going to go to Jerry Burgess, of course, Valentino Rossi's crew chief. So Jerry Burgess also back on the podium. In 3rd place from pole position. Boy, did he try to take 2nd place on that last lap. Cal Crutchlow, the 3rd podium finish of the season for the British rider. In 2nd place, Marc Marquez. What an extraordinary rookie season for the 20-year-old Spaniard. But now, the moment we've been waiting for 2.5 years, Valentino Rossi wins his 106th Grand Prix, his 8th victory here at the Dutch TT in Assen. The doctor is back. He's won the TT at Assen. And at last, it's the Italian national anthem. Sing along. Waited a long time for that national anthem. We waited a long time for Valentino Rossi to be back out there. The barren years at Ducati are forgotten. He's back with Yamaha, and he has won for the 8th time at Assen, his 106th Grand Prix victory. This champagne will taste very, very sweet indeed for the doctor. Champagne flows, photographs taken. And already we can't wait for the next round, round 8. In 15 days' time, because it's a Saturday race, we're back to the Sunday schedule. 2 races in the space of 7 days. We're at the Saxon Ring in 2 weeks' time. Laguna Seca in America in 3 weeks. Will Rossi be on the top step at either of those Grand Prix? Who would rule him out?